SIRAT. After the resurrection, the crowd stands waiting. No one can move forward until the judgment is complete. Then a path appears. It stretches directly over the fire, suspended above the flames. The Hadith texts name this crossing as-Sirat, not a symbol or a figure of speech. The narrations present it as a real bridge that every soul will face. In collections like Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, the scene is described with simple physical words. The Sirat is laid across hell. People will step onto it one after another. No one is exempt because of status or knowledge. Every human who ever lived must cross that span to reach the other side. The reports do not turn the bridge into an abstract moral test. They treat it as a concrete structure, a thing that feet touch, a line that divides final destinations. Those who cross it arrive at the gate of paradise. Those who slip fall into the fire below. The Hadith material does not offer a third outcome. The Sirat carries no neutral ground. The bridge itself is the filter. This is not a later invention. Major Hadith compilations repeatedly mention it by name and describe its role. Classical tafsir works like that of Ibn Kathir record the reports and connect them to the day of standing. The bridge is presented as the last obstacle after the scales and the book of deeds. The Sirat is not hidden or secret. The word itself came to mean the path of truth in this world. But on that day it becomes a literal path over fire. The Hadith accounts insist on that reality. They do not reduce it to a metaphor for a difficult life. The bridge is the actual passageway erected after resurrection. Its existence in the unseen remains a central part of Islamic eschatology. All the later scenes of speed, falling, and rescue that the narrations describe happen on that single structure. It ends as a line everyone meets. Some step across to the gate of paradise, others slip and plunge into the flames beneath, the razor-thin, hair-like plank. The bridge appears, but its shape is not what anyone expects. It is not wide like a road. It is not solid like stone. The Hadith reports describe something far more terrifying. They say the Sirat is thinner than a hair and sharper than a sword. Those are the exact words used in the narrations. Not a figure of speech, not a poetic exaggeration. The Prophet, peace be upon him, is reported to have described it that way to his companions. The words appear in the major collections. Sahih Muslim records it. Sahih al-Bukhari includes it. Ibn Kathir repeats it in his Tafsir when explaining the Day of Judgment. Thin as a strand of hair, sharp as a blade. That means every step is a danger. Feet cannot find a flat surface. The edge cuts. The body sways. A person cannot simply walk across. They must be carried by something more than balance. The physical traits are stated plainly. The narrations do not say the bridge is difficult in a spiritual sense only. They say it is physically thin and physically sharp. The trial is not just inside the heart. It is under the soles of the feet. One slip and the flesh meets the edge. The fire waits directly below. There is no rail. There is no second chance. The description turns the crossing into a moment of absolute peril. Every soul that steps onto it faces immediate physical risk. The Hadith writers did not soften the image. They passed it on exactly as they heard it. A line narrower than a single strand of hair, suspended over an endless fire. One slip, and the flesh meets the edge. Speed and manner, lightning, walking, crawling, falling. The first souls step onto the bridge, and right away the crowd does not move as one. Some shoot across like lightning. Their feet barely touch the edge. Others walk at a steady pace, neither fast nor slow. A third group crawls. Their hands grip the sharp surface. Their knees drag. They move inch by inch. And then there are those who take one step and fall. The fire catches them immediately. The Hadith collections preserve these scenes in plain language. Narrations in Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim describe the varying speeds as a direct sorting of humanity. The believers pass swiftly. The hypocrites and the weak in faith move slowly. Those who reject truth cannot stand at all. The pace is not random. It matches exactly what each person did in the world. Good deeds give speed. Evil deeds drag the body down. Every sin turns into weight. Every act of obedience becomes a push forward. The bridge becomes a final summary of a whole life. The Hadiths do not present this as a hidden test. The speed itself is visible to everyone watching. The fast ones are recognized. The crawlers are known. The fallen are witnessed. There is no appeal. The crossing itself is the verdict. A flash of light over the fire means paradise is near. A slow crawl means every moment is agony. A slip means the fire is the final home. Devils at the ridge, shayatan who seize and trip. Some figures do not wait at the end of the bridge. They stand right on its edge. As the souls begin moving across, dark shapes appear. They crouch low. They reach out with hooked fingers. The Hadiths name them shayatan, devils stationed on the SIRAT itself. Their task is not to block the way, it is to grab. A heel in motion, a wrist reaching forward, a foot that slips for half a second. That is all they need. The narrations describe them snatching at passers-by, trying to tear them off the bridge and into the fire below. The reports appear across the major collections. Sahih Muslim includes them. The Tafsir of Ibn Kathir repeats them. The SIRAT commentaries reference them. They are not whispered suggestions. They are physical attackers. The Hadiths do not frame this as a spiritual test inside the heart. A hand closes on an ankle. A weight pulls from under the bridge. A body falls. The scene is an active, violent struggle in full view of everyone waiting to cross. The devils do not target everyone equally. Those sliding forward on their stomachs are the easiest prey. Those walking in fear are surrounded. Even the fast ones must pass through them. The crossing becomes a battleground. A hand clamps on an ankle. A weight pulls the feet from beneath someone, and a body drops into the fire below. Angels, helpers, and calls for aid. A believer is halfway across. A devil lunges from below. The grip closes around an ankle. The pull comes hard, and then another hand catches the believer by the wrist. The narrations do not only describe the attack, they record the counterattack. Angels are stationed along the SIRAT just like the devils are. But their task is the opposite. When a soul begins to slip, an angel pulls. When the demons swarm, angels call out to the faithful by name. The Hadiths in Sahih Muslim and other collections paint the same scene as a two-sided struggle. The same reports that mention shayatan grabbing heels also mention angels reaching into the chaos to rescue those who are about to fall. The exact mechanics are not always described, but the pattern appears again and again. The crossing is not a lonely walk. It is a contested field where help and harm operate in the same instant. A believer crawling on their stomach feels the heat rising and then feels a pull from above. The angels do not wait for the perfect moment. They act when the danger is immediate. Many souls cross not because they are fast or strong, but because someone pulls them the last few feet. The devils grab and sometimes succeed. But the narrations insist that angelic hands were there the whole time, pulling from the other side. If this is opening your eyes to what Islamic sources actually say, subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a like. That's what makes YouTube show this to more people. Let's keep going. Intercession and special exemptions. A man is slipping. His foot slides off the edge. He cannot pull himself back up. Then a hand reaches from the far side. It does not belong to an angel. It belongs to a prophet. The Hadiths record that some souls do not cross the SIRAT by their own speed or strength. They cross because someone asks for them. The Prophet Muhammad is described standing at the far end of the bridge and making a request. The request is not for everyone. It is for specific people, those whose deeds were not enough on their own. Sahih Muslim and other collections preserve the scene. The hands grab theirs. They are pulled the last distance, and they reach the other side not through justice alone, but through mercy. The same reports mention martyrs. They do not stumble. They do not slow down. Their wounds testify for them before they ever step onto the plank. The bridge does not test them the same way. The narrations of Ibn Kathir also note that the prophets themselves cross without fear. Their passage is secure, but the moment that stands out is the soul who would have fallen, the soul who had no angel close enough to catch them. The Hadiths show that a voice from the far side reaches them anyway. Hands grab theirs and haul them over the last distance. Cultural echoes and later embellishments. Picture the bridge with chains hanging from it, hooks on the chains, claws that catch at clothes and skin, maybe even a rooster perched at the far end. That image does not come from the earliest Hadiths. It comes from later, much later. By the medieval period, popular storytellers in the Islamicate world had taken the core SIRAT narratives and added detail upon detail. Some of these additions echo older Bridge of the Dead motifs found far beyond Arabia. The Chinvat Bridge in Zoroastrian tradition is one example. It too is a crossing that sorts the righteous from the wicked. It too is described as sharp and perilous. The Brig of Dread in medieval Christian folklore is another. Ibn Kathir and other classical commentators sometimes note these parallels. But the early Hadith collections do not contain the hooks and rooster. Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari give a razor-thin plank, devils at the heels, angels pulling, and people crossing at different speeds. That is the core. The rich theatrical imagery that many people associate with the SIRAT today comes largely from later embellishment. It grew in popular sermons and storytelling circles. It traveled across cultures and picked up ornaments along the way. The core claim is stable. The bridge is real. The danger is real. But much of the furniture attached to the scene was added by later hands, not by the earliest narrators. The result is a layered picture. Some of it is authentic hadith. Some of it traveled in sermons and storytelling, attaching hooks, claws, and a rooster to a plank the earliest collections never described. Ambiguities, textual variation, and the practical verdict. A scholar opens a collection of hadith. The report says the bridge is thinner than a hair. He opens another. That detail is missing. only that the bridge is stretched over hell and people cross according to their deeds. He opens a third. It describes hooks and chains. A fourth says nothing about hooks. It only mentions light for the believers and darkness for the hypocrites. This is not a mistake. It is the Hadith record. The narrations about the SIRAT do not form a single sealed blueprint. They vary. Sahih Muslim transmits the hair and sword wording. Other early authorities transmit versions without it. Ibn Kathir himself notes the differences. Some scholars read every detail as literal physical fact. Others say the descriptions are meant to convey the terror of the crossing, not a mechanical diagram. The speed categories also shift. One narration lists lightning, wind, running, walking, and crawling. Another groups them differently. The devils are described as grabbing heels in some reports. In others, the attack is more general. The core is constant. The bridge exists. Every soul must cross. The outcome is final. But the exact furniture of the scene is not uniform across the sources. That matters. Later storytellers filled the gaps. They added hooks, a rooster, a specific length. Those additions are not in the earliest collections. The Hadith record itself presents a series of narratable claims, not a single technical manual. The SIRAT is an article of faith. The test is real, but the precise mechanics are contested. The sources record competing details and the exegetes argue. In reading them you end at the bridge, a final edge every soul must cross, while later storytellers stacked ornaments on that edge that the earliest collections do not show. One bridge, one crossing, one moment where every recorded deed meets the agents assigned to it. Devils snatch heels and drag the weak. Angels reach across the sharp edge and pull the faithful forward. Martyrs cross without stumbling because their wounds already testify. The prophet stands at the far end and asks for specific souls who cannot make it alone. None of them cross in silence. Each pace is a verdict. Each fall or rescue is the consequence of a life. What the SIRAT stories show is not just a religious doctrine. It is the idea that every act arrives at a final crossing. And at that crossing, unseen hands either pull you forward or pull you back. The test is not only about belief, it is about the weight of what you did finally catching up to you, with the unseen world watching every step. If this opened your eyes to something you didn't know about Islam, share it with someone who needs to see it. Like, subscribe if you haven't. See you in the next one.